it's me, Margaret, and I think you figured out by now that my channel is not just about yarn crafts. It is reviews and lifestyle, and is like Shauna said, useful randomness, which is my favorite term to this day. But I am happy to tell you, I have made time for yarn. Now, I have to tell you, I have often heard people say things like, oh, I'm just too tired to knit, or I'm too tired to crochet. And I think, how is that even possible? Because you're sitting down, you're relaxed. It is a relaxing activity. Well, let me tell you what, when I've been doing as much physical labor as I've been doing with this house, I was too tired to crochet or to knit. I would sit down and it's just like I couldn't lift my arms up. So, in order to get myself back in the groove, because I think it had been weeks before I had the opportunity to actually work with yarn, what with packing the old house and then the move and then, you know, the unpacking, just to get the basics down, because we certainly have not hung anything on the wall. I haven't unpacked everything or whatever. So I ran across this scrap yarn right here. It was, I don't even know what it was. I think it was Caron Simply Soft. No, I know it wasn't Caron Simply Soft. I think it was Caron 1 Pound. I don't know. I didn't care what colors it was. I didn't care anything. I just picked it up and brought it upstairs and sat down and said, I'm going to do a basic crochet hat if it kills me. And I did this hat, and it took me probably 3 or 4 days doing just a row or two at a time. And that's how I was getting back in the swing of it. I did do a little different border here down at the bottom. Involved some camel stitch and some, I don't care for this back loop only ridge that I did right here, but I like this. I thought this turned out pretty well here on the end. But I also did a palm for the top of it in the green and the yellow mixed. Remember, most of my work is for charity, and so this is a great little hat for charity. Oftentimes when they come in for hats, parents will grab more than one, because I think you know how it is, especially if you're a parent. You buy a hat and then they come home from school and you say, where did it go? They don't know. They don't have a clue. So oftentimes they'll grab more than one, and so I don't mind making these little quick, little inexpensive, fast, quick hat, because they serve great as a backup hat for these charities too. But then I get a big kick out of doing something that's a little bit more challenging and what requires a little bit more thought. So I moved on to this one. Now, this is by Laurie, Laliberte, I think you say her name. I've done this hat before. I did it for my friend who had cancer a couple of years ago. And by the way, she is cancer free. Everything is good. She had some difficulties with radiation in her throat, but mainly the cancer is gone. But when I did the hat then, it was too big. I did a second hat for her, cutting it down, so I knew it was going to be too big. So keeping that in mind, instead of starting with 12 single crochet in the center, I started with 10, and then I left out an entire section here. I think it was like 5 single crochets right here. Now the hat was designed to flip up like this, but it was also designed to be kind of a flat top hat instead of a beanie. Let's see if I can recreate that. Something more along the lines of this, like that, which I like a lot. But the problem is you would have to do a much tighter weave in order to make that stay stiff and straight like that. Now, she had you do a 5.5 millimeter hook here, and then you went down a hook size for this. But I imagine you could go down a hook size up here, create a heavier, tighter weave so that it would remain more flat, and it may fix the too big problem. I don't know. But if you look on the link that I'm going to provide for this, it is on Ravelry, but I'm going to provide you a link directly to her blog. She called it a free trick-or-treat or something because she did it at Halloween. And if you look, she'll say that she didn't do a lot of testing. Here was the pattern and she threw it out. So this would be a great thing for you to use as inspiration. You take her basic pattern and then do little tweaks like I was talking about to see if you could achieve the flat top on there. So I think I may do that myself. But I really like it. I like the patterning on that, so that's good. Now I still have that wonderful Euroflax yarn hanging over my head. I've got to do that little tee. They called it a tee, not a sweater. And I just noticed that I plugged my microphone in, but I did not have it on. This should be better. The problem is, as you know, I'm not a superior knitter by any stretch of the imagination, so that requires a lot of thought. And plus, I'm supposed to be reviewing this yarn, so I really want to give it the attention that it deserves on that, and that's why I haven't cast it on, because I've just been exhausted, you know, snatching time to do my yarn work just in bits and bobs. But I'm getting there. Now, I do not know what to call this room that I'm in. I can't really find a place outside to film yet that the lighting is right. So I'm here in this room. I switched to my GoPro because it handles low light better, and you have a less than inspiring background behind me. Sorry about that, but that's how it's going to have to be right now as I adjust to my new environment. But while I'm here, would you like to see a tour of my progress for yarn storage? Come on, I'll show you. Okay, first thing I want to point out is that this is something I used to use on the back of a door at the old house. And essentially all it is some vinyl lattice that has been cut, and I hang it up here on Dollar Tree hooks over the door hooks. And then here you put S hooks, and you can hang whatever you want to from the S hooks. So that's a pretty good storage, but it only really fit on this door, which will probably never be closed, so it's fine if it hangs there. If it gets too messy, I'll hang it on the back of the door. So here we go with the yarn closet, which is not fixed, so I hope you're not disappointed. This yarn room has not been a priority because, you know, obviously other parts of the house are more important. Okay, so I have filled this one up. I showed you that these were leftover pieces of furniture from my garage storage in the old house. I've got this one over here. And then I showed you, I bought these things, and I put one together before you, but I did put the second one together. I did anchor it to the wall. So both of them are anchored to the wall, so that's for safety purposes. And everything else you see, well, you know, these things as well, these are things I already had. I did love to have done a Pinterest room, but I'm using what I already had, like these plastic storage drawers. They're stacked. It's actually 1, 2, 3, 4 units, and they're stacked on top of each other. And they are put in front of that little skinny door. I've had several people ask me, what is behind that little skinny door? That's just utility access. I think it's got plumbing or something like that behind it. So I couldn't put something that I would anchor to the wall like this in front of it, no permanent fixture. Had to be something that could be moved easily just in case we needed to get to it. Now, these over here are supposed to go in a closet. And I kind of rigged something up here. It's just a big, thick yardstick, and I have it hanging from the top of that. Now, obviously, this is a shoe bin right here, but this is something neat. I've showed it before. I got it on clearance at Walmart, and it actually revolves, and you have different types of ways you can store things. Like these are little stretchy mesh bags with elastic, and these are just elastic things you would, I don't know, you just tuck something. Now, you have one in my own closet, you know, my clothes closet, and I use it for various things. Right now I've stuffed a bunch of project bags down there, but that won't be the permanent place for those. So I still have a ways to go. I have to get my sewing stuff in here. My office supplies are not going to fit in here, so there's a closet that's out here and down there. We had to paint that and buy some shelving units for that. So I did find the leaf for this table, so we have a wider workspace here, so that's good news. But as you can see, there's so many more things to do than just this room. Now, one of the best parts about moving to Atlanta was being closer to Thomas's school. He's out right now, but over the past couple of weeks we got to participate in different school events, like a parade for graduation for the seniors. Now, technically, if I was still living in Mississippi, I would not have rushed over here for that because there wasn't anything featuring Thomas or anything he did. So it was nice for us to be able to just say, hey, you want to run over and see the parade, see the seniors get their awards? So we did, and it was a beautiful day sitting outside watching them. We watched them come in from a different angle this time. We kind of stood close instead of sitting up in the stands, and that was kind of fun too. So see, being involved in his school was so important to me. Oh, and I got a call to come and help stuff exam bags. And I also got to eat dinner with him that night. So it just feels so good to be back in a situation where I am involved in his school, which is what I've always done with my big kids and him as well until this past year with him being so far away. He's still loving it. He is now Corporal Olander. And what else? Oh, he lettered this year in baseball. A freshman lettered in varsity baseball. That's pretty good. And what else? Oh, he's got all these new fancy ribbons to wear on his dress uniform. He just has done spectacularly well. We haven't gotten grades yet, but I expect those to be pretty good too. We'll see. But when we picked him up to come home for the summer, closed up and sealed, the box that Louise sent me his weighted blanket in. If you'll remember seeing a previous video where I showed you that Louise had made a weighted blanket for Thomas. And if you don't know what those are, you're going to have to look back several videos for the explanation on what those are. But he will watch. All right, so he's going to open it. He still can't imagine what it feels like.
This is heavy.
But wait till you try it out. It's the neatest feeling. When you lay down, it just kind of hugs you. It conforms to your body.
I don't want to get up.
You don't want to get up. Well, you're going to have to get up. What does it feel like? Doesn't it feel like a hug? What do you say?
Thank you.
It was Miss Louise.
Thank you, Miss Louise.
Oh, well, she can't say it. You're welcome, Thomas. I'm in a little burger joint, and it's as cute as it can be. And look right here. Okay, so I have another good thing about moving to Atlanta. You remember I started my YouTube channel because I did not have any friends who enjoyed knitting and crocheting, and so they just didn't get it. When I began to talk about moving to Atlanta, several of the viewers spoke up and said, oh, I live in Atlanta. Oh, I live in Atlanta. You're going to love it, la, 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 la. And I thought, oh, we've got to have a meetup. We just have to do that. I just think it would be so much fun so I could actually see you with my two eyes and see you in person, and then y'all can talk to each other and not just sit around listening to me yammer, and not even be able to interrupt or add to the conversation or whatever. I just thought it would be fun for us to get together as a group. Well, Sweet Joyce, who is Jay of Jay's Knit and Purl Jam, have you seen her on YouTube? She has offered to host a meet and greet for me. And not only will it be like in a coffee shop or something, which is what I was thinking, a mall or whatever, it's going to be at her favorite yarn shop called the Cast On Cottage, which I am super excited to see. Well, Cast On Cottage was high on my list because I knew that Joyce says, she goes, that is my favorite yarn store. And so lo and behold, she said, I want to host this for you. Well, of course, my first immediate reaction was like, not just for me. Let's do all YouTube Atlanta-based people. That would be great. We have a big shindig, blah, blah, blah. But Sweet Joyce was like, no, we're going to welcome you. You're the one that's new to the area. So I just got so excited. I said, okay. So she's working on a formal invitation, but I'm going to put the word out there so you can put on your calendar if you're available to come. I would absolutely love it. I think we would have such a great time together. But it's going to be June 25th, Saturday, June 25th, from 1 to 4. Just kind of come and go. But you'll also get to shop at Cast On Cottage, which you can't beat that. So I'm really excited about that. But look for a more formal invitation that Jay is working on. I don't know what she's up to, but she said she's going to email me something to put out on my channel, and she's going to put it out on her channel too, so her viewers will come too, and that will be fun. So it'll be a whole bunch of us who enjoy the same thing. It's just going to be great. So put that on your calendar if you're in the Atlanta area and available to come and meet each other. That would be so fun. Now, speaking of friends, I have said on numerous occasions, and I believe this with all my heart, I have some of the sweetest, smartest viewers that there are on the planet. I have learned so much from you people. Well, the other day I got a comment from Susie's Soap and Stuff. She was referring to the Dollar Tree haul where I had purchased this little yarn basket. Well, it wasn't a yarn basket. It was a plastic basket for sorting and organizing. And other viewers were saying they were going to use it to keep yarn in, and you'd thread the yarn through the holes, which was a brilliant idea to help keep it clean. And Susie says, I put my yarn that I'm working on in from a repurposed Clorox wipes container. Sam's Members Mark containers work just as well, but Lysol wipes containers are too skinny. I remove the grabber in the center of the lid and feed my yarn through that hole. That allows me to open the lid to crochet from it, but close it when not in use. This keeps the yarn neat and clean, and several fit in my bag if I need different colors. I thought this was ingenious, and I didn't have Clorox or Members Mark containers on hand, but I do have this Kroger version of disinfecting wipes that she's talking about. So I thought, ooh, let's see what mine look like in here. And this would work pretty darn well. Do you see how that is on the inside? Now, this would be the grabber, and I don't know if mine removes or not. I know some of them will pop out, but this is a good size opening. I think that you could feed the yarn right through there. And so that, yeah, that would work. And Susie, this isn't too skinny, is it? Can you tell by the size of my hand that I know what you're talking about? I've seen those Lysol containers that are skinny, but these are big with 75 wipes in them. And but I thought that was a great idea and another way to repurpose what we already have. So great idea, Susie. Thanks. And here's another great message that I got. It's from Crocheter 123567 Hook. And she says, I am 10 now, but when I was 9, over spring break, me and my grandpa took an old bookshelf and made 9 1-foot by 1-foot squares and put them together, painted them aqua, and my yarn is so happy. So what she ended up doing is taking a bookshelf she already had and repurposed it into cubbies like I bought, but with the help of her grandpa. And I told her I was so jealous that she had a grandpa that could help her do that, because my husband and I are not handy, and you know, obviously we had to have a kit. There's no way we could have figured out how to do that properly. But wasn't that great? And then I love my younger viewers a whole lot. I'm so jealous of them because they're starting early and they're going to have some mad skills by the time they get to be my age. Now, another one of my longtime subscribers is Ambi, and I think on YouTube she's Ambi Crafts Reads, but on Ravelry, she's Crazy Crafter 87, and she has a group called Faith Love Crafts on Ravelry. Well, she has decided to do a craft-a-thon for the month of June. You'll have to go to her group, Faith Love Crafts, to see all the different categories that she's got. She's listed 55 different challenges that you can participate in, just to give you ideas. It would be things like create something vintage from a vintage pattern, create a bookmark, and then she's given out 2 prizes. One is whoever does the most projects, period, and then the other prize is for whoever does the most challenges. If you're interested in that, it's on Ravelry. Faith Love Crafts is the name of the group. And while we're talking about friends, here's a new friend, Barbara Benson, under Watch Barbara Knit. You've got to subscribe to her channel. It's relatively new and it's fantastic. Barbara is a designer, and on her channel you're going to find a lot of more unique things, which you know I love, different types of videos. She does tutorials, and because she's a designer, she will also do pattern tours where she explains to you the skills or the material used or whatever in her designs. I love this cowl. I think it is so neat, and it's unisex too. She also does this really creative thing called Secret Shopper, where she gives somebody money they go out and buy her something knitting related and then surprise her with it. It is so funny. It's so clever. Some of the things she's never even seen before. And look, see that word? Atlanta. She's from the Atlanta area, so I look forward to meeting her. She has a great personality. Everything she does is just so fun to watch. The videos are short and super unique. She's really creative and funny. You'll really like her. I decided to stop in Dollar General and see what they have. Now, we had Dollar Generals back at where I used to live, but I never went in those stores, and for some reason I just stopped. Okay, so I stopped in a Dollar General, and I didn't find anything that I wanted to buy in there, but I did run across these dryer sheep, which I thought were absolutely adorable. A while back, I have become a confirmed wool dryer ball convert. I use these things all the time, and I got mine from Mountain Meadow Wool and even did a video talking about the advantages to doing this, which of course I'll link in the description box below, and you'll probably see a card pop up. But these were so cute that I had to take a picture. The price on them was $10, and I have to be honest, I didn't investigate them, so I don't know if they're pure wool. They could very well have acrylic in them. They could be tennis balls for all I know. But what I really love are the 100% wool balls. I know people make them, but I thought those were cute. Wanted to share. Look at my new creative outlet. And I assure you, it's not by choice. We inherited this very prettily shaped plant that's out by the mailbox, and my husband is not good with things like this. As a matter of fact, I caught him out there with a pair of hand clippers trying to do this. It was, you know, the tiny kind that you just snip branches off with. And it's like, honey, that is just not going to work. He said, well, I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't want to mess it up. You do it. So I was brave, and I did it, and it's turning out okay. But you have to know my history to know that I know nothing about gardening. I have a definite brown two thumbs, not just one thumb, and I've got to learn here. I've never had to garden in my life. My daddy was a golf pro. He brought home the crew that took care of our landscaping and grass and everything. We had a putting green for a front yard, if that tells you anything. And then Tucker cut the small yards that we have, but we had Mr. Roger take care of the big yards, you know, including all the landscaping and stuff. And I just don't know anything about that. So that's been a new pursuit of mine, is to learn about gardening. Does anybody know what this bush is? It's a gangly looking bush, but it smells beautiful. I can't tell you how good it smells. I also am dealing with some cabinets that are kind of odd shaped, and so I needed Lazy Susans in several of these cabinets in order to put things on so I can reach them and get to them comfortably, and I ran out of Lazy Susans. But I remembered that I had seen online ways to make one from Dollar Tree stuff, and I needed a bigger one, so here's what I did. And have you seen these floating around on YouTube? It's a turntable, a Lazy Susan made from Dollar Tree supplies. It's 2 cake pans and some marbles, and it just spins around. So essentially it's $3 for a pretty tough turntable. Now, I give credit to this idea to Alejandra TV. It's a YouTube channel. I'll put the link in the description box below and the card above so that you can see the video where I first saw her explain this. And I want to show you my take on this where I expand it. I needed a larger one, and the ones that I was seeing in my stores were costing somewhere around $15 or more. So let me show you what I did. Now, of course, the supplies you're going to need would be 2 cake pans, 1 package of marbles, and then for my larger size, you'll need a pizza pan and some super glue. Now, to make Alejandra's version, the smaller version, you simply put your marbles in your pan and you set the second pan on top and you're ready to go. But to make a larger version, try this. Now, this is simple. You take the top cake pan and you put a generous amount of super glue all around the edge. And make sure it's generous, otherwise it won't stick. Then you center it, turn it over and center it in the middle of the pizza pan and put a weight on it and hold it in place for about 20 minutes. Okay, it's been sitting for about 20 minutes, so it should be good and stuck, which it appears to be. So after that, now you put it back on as normal and you have a much larger turntable. Easy, quick, smart, cheap. So there you go. So I think that's all that has transpired this week. So hopefully I'm getting back to normal so that I can get you some more yarn things to talk about, and I'll look for more interesting bits of useful randomness to share with you. Don't forget, if you're in the Atlanta area, mark June 25th from 1 to 4 on your calendar so we can all chit chat. That'll be really fun. So talk to you soon. Bye.